Call this meeting to order, and we'll start with the pledge to the flag. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Scott.
Here.
Medro.
Here.
Sinkwitz.
Here.
McGee.
Here.
Dumont.
Here.
Duff.
Here.
Staff.
Here.
Correspondence, we have a letter from Joann Sullivan regarding the 2017 packing party for the troops. I noticed Joann is here, and I wondered if I might have a motion to open to Joann
So
to
moved.
address us on the letter. So motion staff, second Duff, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
It's always nice to have a large crowd in the audience if you're going to speak on an issue that you'd like people to come to. I'm Joann Sullivan, 2689 Eider Way. And on behalf of Christy Nedrow, Denny DeWitt, and myself, I would like to invite everybody to attend the Wolverine Lake Community Packing Party for the Troops that's going to be held Saturday, October 14th, up here at Shepherd of the Lakes Lutheran Church from 9:30 until noon. Everybody is welcome. We have some flyers over here on the table, or you can get the flyers from the village website, www.wolverinelake.com, or at our Facebook page, which is Wolverine Lake Community Packing Party for the Troops. The packing party, as it does every year, honors the service and the memory of Marine Lance Corporal Justin Ellsworth, who was killed in Iraq in 2004 and was the son of our police chief, John Ellsworth. We honor his memory and service every year by gathering together as a community, and we pack care packages that get sent overseas to currently serving military members. Last year, we packed about 800 care packages, and through everyone's generous donations, we're looking forward to, well, let's put it this way. I've ordered that many boxes and more from the post office. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed that we can reach that goal again. On the flyers, you will see that we're going to be collecting donations of items to be packed in the care packages. We're also collecting donations of funds to be able to pay the postage to ship the care packages. And we're also going to be accepting donations of funds to buy canine protective gear and canine medical first aid kits for the military working dogs that are overseas. It is an inspiring, very worthwhile event with the 200 to 250 volunteers that we get there that morning. You are all awesome that you get these 800 boxes packed in like an hour and a half. You're just wonderful, and it's because of all the donations and all the volunteers that we get. So I invite you all to come out again. It's a great event. We look forward to seeing you, and thank you for your past support and your support this year. Thank you.
Thank you, Joann. Great event.
Yep. I will only add that if you have never been, it's a great volunteer event that you can really just show up, go where you're told, do the things in the line. Having everybody show up like that makes a big difference. It runs it through, it makes it go really fast.
Something I love to do, tell people where to go.
Yeah.
She will tell you where to go.
She's a great Indian chief. We need to buy her a bonnet.
So, thank you, Joann. Do I hear a motion to close?
So moved. Support.
Motion Duff, second Stack. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, close to the public. Do I hear a motion to receive and file the letter itself?
So moved.
Motion Duff, second Stack. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, additions to business. I believe we have, under item M, I'd like to make an M1, and that is paving pay estimates and invoices. So, and we've got some information from our engineer on that. I don't believe we have any other additions to business. Do I hear a motion to approve that agenda with the addition?
So moved. Second.
Motion Stack, second Duff. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. First call to the public, opportunity for citizens to address the council on agenda items. So I'll ask you, if you haven't addressed this before, come on up, come to the microphone, give us your name and your address, and let us know. I know we have a lot of people here. Quick show of hands, people who want to address the Penny Lake Road. As I thought, and we will discuss, and I'm sure we will eventually open to the public on that during that discussion. I know you've got a spokesperson here, Kathy, so we'll make sure we address that. But anybody?
What, get up here a minute.
Yep.
Okay.
To the microphone, yeah.
Right here? Okay.
Yep. There you go. That way everybody can hear.
My name is Pat Kelly, and I live at 1455 West Drive. And I'm here to hear if there are any solutions to this problem. I'm sure I'm not the only person that, is concerned about all of the traffic. When I moved into Wolverine Lake, I was very happy, and it's a private neighborhood, and we pay private taxes. But the traffic is unbearable. I mean, absolutely unbearable. And I'm a pretty tolerant person, you know. However, I've lost my patience over it. And if we can't resolve an issue here or give me some kind of satisfaction as to what could be done on West Drive and Penny Lake Road, then I'll have to take care of myself and think of my own solutions. And I'm sure they'll be against the law. And I'm a law-abiding citizen. My father taught us with the razor strap to, be a good law-abiding citizen. I'm the third oldest of 11. My father didn't spare the rod because he was going to make sure we toed the line. Anyway, I would just like something to be done. It's terrible. We have landscape trucks. I mean, unbelievable. We have JR or JD. They have they're based on Ladd Road, but guess what? Every morning and every evening, what do? They come down Penny Lake Road to Dunreath when they could be taking Ladd Road to Maple Road. And I understand that we're all creatures of habit, and I can remember when Maple Road didn't go all the way through. And truly, this passageway, they're familiar with using. But now Maple Road is open. And they could go right down Ladd Road to Maple Road and go wherever the heck they had to go. But you know what? I'm tired of them going down back and forth in front of my house. I'm tired of it. And I don't know how many other people are. I'm sure I'm not alone.
Why we're here.
That's what, look at, I know that I'm not alone in this. Look at my people. So anyway, let's work together, because I don't want to use my solutions.
All right, thank you.
Thank you guys for listening. Hey, come on.
All right, anybody else for first call to the public? All right, seeing none, I will close the first call to the public. We'll move on to approval of the consent agenda. Do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Motion Sinkowitz, second Duff. Further discussion? Roll call vote?
Pedro.
Yes.
Sinkowitz.
Yes.
McGee.
Yes.
Dumont.
Yes.
Duff.
Yes.
Staff.
Yes.
Scott.
Yes.
All right, that brings us down to item 12A1. Recommendations from Police Chief Ellsworth, actually 1 Chief's Merit Award for Officer Christian Beaudry and 2 Life Saving Award for Officer AJ Sutsko. 2 of my favorite agenda items that I will see all year, I'm sure. So let me hand this over to our chief.
I think I'm going to be here on this one, just because it's easier to try to read off of these. I'll give you a chance to get. Thank you, Council. Tonight, I'd like to present 2 awards. One of them is to, the first one's going to be for Officer Christian Beaudry. If you would come up and join me, please. Officer Beaudry is being recognized with the Chief's Merit Award for her actions that occurred on March 16, 2017 in the village of Wolverine Lake. Officer Beaudry responded to a call of a possible burglary in progress. She, along with deputies from the Oakland County Sheriff's Department, were able to determine that the exterior of the unoccupied home had been breached and it was likely the suspects were still inside. Officer Beaudry and Deputy Middleton made their way to the rear of the home by climbing a fence and followed footprints leading to the rear of the home. Officers observed that the rear door was open and broken glass was on the ground. Officer Beaudry then requested the K-9 unit to the scene, and upon the arrival of Deputy Cadet and K-9 Oden, they were able to make entry and take 2 suspects into custody. Both of those suspects were charged with home invasion, and Officer Beaudry's actions and quick response were directly responsible for the apprehension of these 2 suspects. The village of Wolverine Lake is a safer place to live because of these actions. Officer Beaudry is now awarded the Chief's Merit Award for her actions on that day. Thank you very much. Okay. And this. Thank you very much. You want a picture of the 2 of us? Turn around. See, they're calling us.
There you go. And then you
One
can
more.
come this way.
Oh. He's got a phone, it was made like yesterday. Come on, Steve, we're gonna be all night. All right. Walk around.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, nice work.
The next one is for Officer A.J. Sutsko, Andrew Sutsko, if you would join me, please. On July 6, 2017, Officer Sutsko was dispatched to an unconscious victim who was suffering from a possible heroin overdose. Officer Sutsko was the first emergency responder to arrive. He assessed the situation and determined that the subject had actually stopped breathing. His quick response in administering a dose of naloxone and other life-saving measures revived the subject until the emergency medical responders arrived and took over his treatment. His actions reflected the highest award, the highest standard of conduct for law enforcement officer to serve and protect, and brought about great honor to the Wolverine Lake Police Department. For his quick and decisive actions, Officer Sutsko is being awarded the Wolverine Lake Police Department's Life Saving Award. Hold up your award there. It's for Dad.
Chief.
He just wants to hug the chief.
Yeah.
It's for Dad.
Chief.
Look at the camera when you
Chief,
hide him
back that
on
way.
the-
Reporter.
What's that? Oh, we need one for the reporter too, so. We'll get him.
And he helped fix me up a week ago Friday.
That's
Thank you.
right.
I appreciate that.
Nice work.
We need you around for
Thank you. Great accomplishments on both fronts. All right, brings us to item B, request to purchase tiki candles from Pam Kaznecki, $2,412 from budgeted funds. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Motion
Support.
Duff, second Sinkowitz. I'm sorry, motion Stack, second Sinkowitz. Further discussion? I believe we have Pam here. Pam, want to make any comments?
That was easy.
Hey, we haven't passed the motion yet.
The Staples Bar.
Yeah.
That was easy.
Yeah. Good evening, Mr. President, Council. We did, I think, really well selling candles this year. We sold more this year than or close to as we did last year. We sold 960 candles, and we raised $3,097.25 toward the candles, and we also received $171.80 in donations that was given to the village. I want to thank, I can't do this myself. I mean, I had so much help. I had John Scott and Linda Champagne, I had the Vickeries, I had the Caricos, I had the Bocas, I had the Langs, I had, I'm getting there. I was looking for Gene in the audience, I saw him there. Gene and his plethora of grandchildren who sold 10 cases of candles on the boat. So great job, guys. And then I even solicited John Blankenship to give a shout out to his emails to his village people, because we couldn't distribute flyers this year. The post office told us that it was illegal to do. So we pretty much depended on the village website, the village emails that Tabitha sends out, Jean on the boat, and JR has a huge mailing list too. So, many thanks to them. And of course, my husband, Tom, because I'm still working and he took care of a lot of the sales. When I
Now we
was
know
off
who you
working.
really put to work.
Yeah. So with that said, last year I ordered 40 boxes, and since I had about 14 boxes left over, I'd like to order 30 boxes this year. The prices of per candle have gone up to $3.35. So I'm asking council's approval to we purchased them through English Gardens on Orchard Lake Road. So and they sell them to us at their cost, but they have gone up.
Well, we've already got the motion. We're in discussion.
Thank you.
All right, thanks. Any further discussion? I will say, I don't know, it might have just been me, this year's candles were a little not quite as good as some of the previous years, but I know that.
You're the third person that told me that. I'm gonna talk about, when I talk to him tomorrow about that.
Yeah, and I don't know if it was just because it was a particularly windy night
keep
this
them lit,
year,
yeah.
but our candles struggled in our neighborhood. But let's proceed to get some more. So, any further discussion? Roll call vote?
Sinkwitz?
Yes.
McGee?
Yes.
Dumont?
Yes.
Stuff?
Yes.
Staff?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Medrow?
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Brings us to item C, Village Festival and Corn Roast, planning update from event chair Kelly Seco.
President, Council, good evening. I am chair of this year's corn roast, and there are a couple improvements I would like to make. As chair, I would like to make it more of a family event with a lot of free kids' activities, and another thing I would like to do is involve community. And I'm here to ask council's permission to invite vendors out to the festival that day. I'm seeking vendors from farmers markets and local area, and also I'm going to seek local businesses and invite them out to the festival. If you have any questions regarding that, I would be happy to answer them.
Okay, and I think my understanding is you've had already some discussions with the administrator, and this would be something done sort of in conjunction with the basic guidelines we've talked about for having vendors the last few months.
I had a quick question.
Sure.
How's your volunteer list?
Volunteer list is
I figured.
very small right now.
Yeah,
Not a lot of
so-
people are coming forward. We're struggling, not only with this event, but other events. The fishing
Okay.
tournament is now in a bit of a struggle. It's hard to get people to come out and volunteer. We're trying all we can, and we're kind of at the 11th hour, so we're trying to make a big push on getting people involved.
Well, we're lucky to have you and the board, because without the few, the many wouldn't enjoy what's going on. So hopefully
Yeah.
being on television or whatever, we can get some people to turn out.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I want to involve the community as much as possible. This is our village's event, and I would like to open it up for everyone to get involved as much as possible.
Yeah, no, you're not asking them to dance, you're looking for volunteers behind the corn.
Just,
Right.
and they don't have to work the whole day, just a simple 2-3 hour shift would be tremendous, and I'll even give you a free meal.
All right. A dog on the house, huh?
Perhaps we could do a little banging of the publicity drum for volunteers
Yeah.
on the
That would be great
website
if you
with an email blast.
if you could put it
Yeah.
on social
Great.
media. That would be wonderful. Thank you.
When we speak of vendors, are we talking about food vendors, or are we talking about people that's selling jewelry, art?
All the above. Not specifically the food that we're selling, so we're not going to bring someone to duplicate what we're already doing. But if somebody, for example, like a market vendor that sells honey and eggs or baked goods or things like that, they would be welcome to come in.
So really just creating a bit of a vendor space there that people walk around, they can go down, they can,
Right.
look at a couple different items.
Right.
Are you planning to have the vendors out of the parking lot, like on the grass someplace?
I would like to have them lined up in their own
Area?
area, their own table, their own tent, their
Because
own
usually we run
supply.
out of parking space, and if you get enough vendors and they take up a lot of parking space, that could be a negative. If they're on the grass, then they're out of the way.
Right, right. Yeah, they have a special area to be in, so they're out of the way. They're not in the parking lot at all.
Good, okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
And I
Any
also
other
understand Councilperson Sinkowitz is helping to line up a car show for the day.
Yes,
Okay.
we're hoping, it's not a done deal yet, but we're hoping to have the flyer finalized this coming, maybe by the end of the week. Paige will have it ready. And with that, and Ed's help, I hope that we can put together a car show. It would be nice to add to this year's event.
It's all weather orientated.
Yes.
If, as I was, if I can get the flyers usually about 2 weeks before the event, because like at a lot of these car shows, like at Baker's and every place you go, people just throw stuff in the back of your car, and most people look at it and say, oh, in a month, and they forget. So if we get it to them in a couple weeks, a lot of the shows, like at the VFW halls, don't participate anymore after the holiday. So people will be looking for a place to go, and if it's nice
Okay.
weather, it'll be fresh in their minds. So
Okay.
between Baker's and here and a couple other places, I can get the flyers out.
Okay, that'd be
About
great.
2 weeks before the event.
Yeah, I've ordered an extra tent, and with anticipation of more people because of the car show, so I hope it pulls together.
Good.
Good.
All right. I don't think there's anything we need a motion for from us, but, keep working with the.
Okay.
With the administrator, and it sounds like, we've got something really good underway.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
The other thing that hello, my name is Deborah Melvin, 25 Main Court. The other thing that we were trying to get, and the process from my understanding before is if donations come in or whatever, then the person who writes the check, writes it out, to the village, then they have to come in to be able to get the form signed so they can write it off on their taxes? Do you know what I'm talking about? Like, say if I wanted to make a donation, but I wanted to also use it as a tax write-off?
Mm-hmm.
So, is it possible that we can get the copy of the form and then hand it out to them so they can show it to their company of what they're donating?
Let me determine that it is in fact a taxable deduction. We've never, I don't, to my knowledge, handed them out at our counters, so I'll have to determine that.
You haven't, you what, sir? You haven't done what?
We have not handed out those forms at our counters.
Yeah, so we're not a 401K.
A 501.
I'm sorry, a 501C, sorry,
Yeah.
401K. We're not a 401K either.
Putting it in your.
A donation to
Yeah.
a municipality
Okay.
is not necessarily tax
Right.
deductible.
Right. Right, Jen?
It's not as if.
Not automatically, no.
An organization that is a 501c3, it has that status and you can write that off, but a government entity does not, generally, so. Donations to the
confused.
village of Wolverine Lake, what's that?
I'm a little confused.
A donation made to the village?
A
Would not-
donation made for,
You have to have a 501c3 set up, like the fireworks organization does when they make donations to that
Yeah,
group.
so the onwards and upwards, a donation to them would be tax deductible.
Right, they're at 501c3.
But a donation to the village that comes into the village isn't.
No.
Right.
okay,
It
so.
generally is not.
Is it worth looking into, and I could be so far off base, but is it worth looking into making us some of the Parks and Rec into something like onwards and upwards so that we could end up having something like that, or is that just too far?
A lot of communities, well, not a lot, some communities have community foundations.
Okay.
Which are 501c3s, like the city of Wixom, for instance, has a community foundation, so they do all the fundraising for most of the city events.
Right.
And it filters through them and they get that, but it's
quite a lengthy, very involved process.
It might be worth, if there's a specific community event that you're looking at or thinking about, Onwards and Upwards is already
Could
set up.
back it, yeah,
set up
because
that
it
way.
it's a lengthy process, and the city of Walled Lake is still going through it after 4.5 years. We got lucky because we found out what their mistakes were, and when we applied for the 501c3.
So is there a way, on some way, going down in the future, maybe that we could hook up with Onwards and Upwards?
Yes.
And have a different,
That'd be a good match with Parks and Rec.
That's what we thought,
Very
too.
good match.
thank you very much.
Yeah.
I can't believe they're talking about.
All right, thanks. Okay, I think that's what we've got on Village Festival. Coming up soon, September 9th. All right, recommendations for Water Management Board. My understanding is that we've got a couple of recommendations for appointments that get them up from 5 to 7, and then perhaps a little discussion around the number of appointees they have. So, Mr. Scott, let me hand this over to you to
The
introduce
microphone over to me.
the two appointees.
Okay, good. Well, this all really results from a lot of work on behalf of Nathan. He put out, like you've heard, a email call to the general residents through our email system, and I think, was it 5 that came forward in total eventually?
I think there's actually 6, but a few weren't available to come to last night's meeting.
That's
this
right,
night's meeting.
yeah. So we were very lucky in the water board. We had 3 that we interviewed. We have 1 gentleman that we hope will continue to come back, but let me make 2 quick nominations here, that if I could. One of them would be Catherine Duff. I don't know if Catherine is here this evening. Oh, there she is. Okay. Beyond wanting to talk to her about her metallurgical background, which I did when we finished it up, she has been, in fact, a teacher, I believe, at, was it Schoolcraft College in her profession, and would be a great addition to the board because she brings that engineering mind that we always like to see. And again, the background in science, metallurgy, and other items. So I guess I'd like to quickly say we want to nominate her. We have, in fact, approved her, and we're looking for council to approve her to become a member of the water board.
Support.
So I
That was a motion.
believe I heard that as a motion.
You
from
heard that
Mr.
as a
Scott
motion,
and
I'm
second
sorry,
from
thank you,
Mr.
I didn't put
Stack
it that way, but.
To appoint Catherine Duff to the Water Management Board with a term
Yes,
expiring
exactly.
12/31/17. Further discussion? I'll just say, it's always good to get somebody with a scientific background on that board. It's always very helpful. So thank you for volunteering.
You want me to make the second nomination?
Let's,
do all this
we've got
swearing?
that as a motion right now, so let's do that one, and then we'll do the
Okay.
next one. So, any further discussion on that one? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations. Hold on a second, and we'll see if we can swear you both in at once. Second nomination.
Second nomination happens to be deeply related in roots into the village in the sense that he is related to one of the youngest but most storied voluntary individual in the village, and that happens to be the gentleman sitting over here. He's a son-in-law, correct? Okay. And Michael, again, brings a great background of good volunteerism into the village, on the water board, on our events like Goose Roundup and other items. So he has stepped forward and filled a position that is open. We are now on the water board full to our 7 members, but we're still looking for volunteers on the other boards. So I therefore nominate, if you would, Michael Hurst to be a member of the water management team, or water management board.
So, motion Scott, second Stack, to appoint Michael Hurst to the Water Management Board with a term expiring 12/31/18.
18, yeah.
Further discussion of that nomination? It's always good to have somebody with
It
a long
is, it
background.
absolutely is. It was great to have more people than we really needed, which is important. That's the second part of the comment, so.
We'll talk about that in a minute, too. Okay, so any further discussion on that appointment? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Catherine Duff and Michael Hurst are appointed to the Water Management Board. Let's get them sworn in.
Well, there's Michael, I didn't see him.
There he
We'll swear you both in at the same time, if that's all right.
One second, Nathan. Let's get a mic up there. Do the honors one again?
Oh, sure.
Oh, man, chief.
He's a multitasker.
Please raise your right hands and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this state,
and the Constitution of this state,
and that I will faithfully perform the duties
and I will faithfully perform the duties
of the Office of Water Management Board
of the Office of Water Management Board
in and for the Village of Wolverine Lake,
in and for Wolverine Lake,
County of Oakland,
County of Oakland,
and State of Michigan,
State of Michigan,
according to the best of my ability.
according to my best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you.
Oh, you don't get away that quick.
Gotta do the circle.
Know that.
Was she one of your professors?
No, I was years ago.
No.
One more. Thank you. Thank you very much. What's that? No, I can't do
All right, brings us to item D3, discussion, alternate board membership. So, this, I believe, was a discussion at the Water Management Board.
This was correct.
We've had some troubles getting that board back up to 7. We've got them back up to 7 now. I think folks may recall it used to be a 9-member board, and we were having difficulties getting 9 members. Reduced it down to 7 a few years ago. My understanding is that although we reduced it, we actually didn't change the ordinance. The ordinance calls for up to 9 members, and as long as they have a majority of people who are appointed, they still have a quorum. So they can do a quorum with a lesser number. So it's a 7-member board right now by council direction. I don't know, does water management have a strong feeling one way or the other? I like the idea of getting more people involved in water management. It's a board that needs people who are out on the lake, people who are doing things, people who are active.
Well, I get just some general, I guess, review of the commentary that was running among the board members. It was a question of saying, I think remembering back to our June meeting, this council looked to the audience and asked for volunteers. And we were lucky to have 2 new volunteers come into Park and Rec. Lucky to have 5 come out to try and join the water board, which means that our call has been answered, and we thank the public for that. That doesn't mean that we're out of the need of volunteers. As you heard from, once we do something like the corn roast, having been involved with that personally as other members of council have been, you really need 12 to 15 volunteers to run that corn roast when you have 200 people coming out. So whoever can come and lend a hand, please do. The thought that as we got into the deeper discussion was, well, how do we keep people interested? That is to say, if they volunteer and they don't have a place to go, do we lose them? And I know that Nathan keeps in close touch with those that do turn out. So the discussion ended up, well, maybe if we add an alternate position, brought them into the alternate position, and this isn't just for the water board, it's true of any board, that individual who volunteered would feel at least connected to the board or whatever board. We would be in touch with them, and then they could learn the process. Because one of the things that happens is people who do volunteer, it does take a time to get involved with what our topics are, how we make our decisions, and what we do forward. And it's interesting stuff. The water board does a whole lot of different things. Park and Recs does. They're the greatest entertainment committee you could ever have in a village. So it was really a way of, well, how do we keep them coming and how do we get them involved as early as possible? And I think maybe this discussion belongs in the administrative committee, but as even I thought it over more, I thought, well, it could be alternate, could be somebody who's an alternate. It could be somebody who is involved in a general way where we can get, I don't know how we're going to do that, and get them involved in what's going on in the community, because we have subcommittees like the finance subcommittee. One of the gentlemen that came out, he's a CPA, so that's another reach out that I know Nathan would do. And I mentioned to Nathan just a moment ago that, hey, we meet every month, and looking around this table, we have liaisons, such as myself on the Water Management Board, and we have, of course, David over in Park and Rec, and there's no reason why we might not be able to turn one meeting a quarter over to for just 15 minutes while we're on television and explain to people, what does the Water Management Board do? What does Park and Rec do? And sort of bring more interest out through the media. So I guess after my long-winded presentation, we have an administrative meeting coming up, and I think maybe this topic should go to the administration group, and maybe that board or that committee could talk a little bit deeper on some other ideas.
Happy to send it to admin for recommendation.
Just a quick comment. It's always, as long as I've been here, it's always been one board has got more, not enough. I think when somebody volunteers for a position and they're not selected, I don't think they feel like, geez, I lost a vote. It's just, sometimes it's, the other two people come in. But my concern is, when you have an alternate, and if it's a voting person, if they're not at a majority of the meetings, they're sitting down and they're really kind of voting blind, other than what they might hear at that particular meeting. They don't have enough facts. So I guess if you had 7 or if you had 9, as long as you had a majority vote and it passed, whether there were 8 people there or 5 or 9, I wouldn't have a problem. And then you've got people that are informed on the board, ready to take a spot if somebody should have to relinquish their position. And I don't think having too many is a bad thing. And in any of obviously in any of them. And it's just it's like I deal with volunteers all the time, and the functions at multi-lakes. Everybody's important, and you got to make them think that and let them know that they're important, because eventually they are.
Well, and I certainly want to keep people as involved as possible. I mean, I guess my question is it necessarily that bad a thing if you don't get selected for the opening at hand? If you show up to meetings, certainly you can volunteer for things that the board does without actually being on the board.
Yeah.
Learn what's going on. That's exactly how I started on the Water Management Board, was showing up to meetings.
Sure,
on a
absolutely.
regular basis. And I know a lot of their people have gotten onto boards and committees that way. And I only say this because I don't want us to get back to a point where suddenly water management is perpetually under.
No quorum.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And, under their level and.
Yeah, that's
going a
why,
little
that's why I
neglected that
think
way.
I would rather have more people on a board than not enough. Let me leave it at that.
Well, and an alternate doesn't necessarily have to have voting power either. I mean, they could be turned to a subcommittee of any board. So it's just an idea, and that's why I
If
said let's
you have an
discuss.
alternate, given the way boards are, given the way attendance is, given the way life is, and people are busy, they end up being a voting member probably most of the time. so.
Right, because we've had alternates on
Eventually.
other ZBA and stuff like that, and we've ran into problems with quorum
Yeah.
by adding the additional members,
Yep.
voting members, but we can talk about that Friday.
Yeah.
I mean, I
So-
have no problem with that.
So just to give a little guidance to your discussion on Friday, certain bodies like the ZBA and the Planning Commission are regulated by state law and
Right.
are required to have certain membership, alternates on the ZBA. That's why your code addresses alternates for the ZBA. Right now, the way that your code is written, which is controlling, is that your Water Management Board is 9-member board. One is a liaison from council and one is a liaison from Planning Commission. Then 7 other members. Back in 2013, there was discussion, I'm assuming that you were having a problem, struggling with membership. because of the majority voting requirement, and you have a 9-member board, you need not 5 people there, and you weren't getting 5 people at meetings. Well, if you have 7 members, you only need 4 people there. So you made, as a council, an allowance to operate as a 7-member board, but legally it's a 9-member board. So you can go up to, right now, without any other action of council, 9 members on your board.
Right.
If you want to get into a position where you have 7 members and alternates, we need to do an ordinance amendment.
Okay. So we could add 2 members, basically by fiat. We could keep it at a 7-member membership, which means that their quorum is 4 people. If we raise it to 8, does that bump them up to a quorum of 5?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. And, you know, I dislike having even numbers on boards anyways, because
Yeah,
you end up with
doesn't
split
make any
votes.
sense. Yeah.
Do I hear but I think let's take it to the admin committee. Let's come back with a recommendation. Do I hear a motion to do that?
So moved.
Support.
Motion Duff, second Stack, to send the issue of water board membership to the admin committee. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, brings us to resident concerns of speeding and traffic issues in Penny Lake Estates subdivision. Much to say on this topic. Trying to decide who to start with. Ethan, you want to introduce the topic?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. I got a call from Greg last month about wanting to put this on this month's agenda, and we were glad to do that and appreciate all of you coming. Also appreciate the packet of written statements. It's always helpful for us to have things in writing. I know you've all seen our speed sign out there. We've done studies of tracking speed a lot, especially from May to the end of July. At the last council meeting, council authorized us to get in touch with TIA, the Traffic Improvement Association, to see if we could sign an agreement with them that would allow them to look into this issue for us. And we've done that. We signed a membership that will last for the calendar year, and Chief and I were discussing today that we probably want to make this an annual thing. They offer a lot of really good services. We met with them on August 3rd. We discussed the situation. The chief actually drove their engineer through the neighborhood, and they've agreed to do a pretty intensive study of that area. Now, it's not going to be done overnight. They said it's probably going to take them 6 weeks to get their data back, but it's underway. They're going to track speeds. They're going to track type of vehicle. They're going to track a percentage of what vehicles are using the area as a cut through. And then based on everything they collect, they'll offer some recommendations to us at the conclusion of their study. So that's where we're at now, and we hope to be able to come back, hopefully the September meeting with a recommendation, but it just depends on how quickly they're able to get done with their work. But that's what's happened since the last meeting.
Okay. So, and I think that's really good progress in terms of getting some informed people, getting a lot of good information. TIA is really kind of state-of-the-art in Michigan for traffic issues. So we're going to bring them in. We're going to get more information for them. I know we've also gathered a little bit of information from the chief, especially around the amount of enforcement that's going on there. So anything you want to add to what we've
Well,
talked about?
I did want to throw, I know, I'm
The mic.
No, I'll get you yelled at, I didn't have a microphone. I'm not gonna get yelled at by you guys. You know, obviously due to the public rising concern, I did a little background on some of the things we've been able to do. And so what I did is, for the area from Penny Lake Drive to west down to Dunreath, I took and did some measurements of enforcement, what we've done through there, and then did some comparisons from some other local streets. And I think you would be very surprised on the amount of enforcement we've done. During the time period of July 1st, 2016 to July 1st, 2017, our officers have obviously concentrated our efforts down there, and I think it's pretty noticeable that we've been down there. We've made 83 stops along that small section through there. With those 83 stops, we've written 65 speeding violations, 27 stop sign violations, and made 5 miscellaneous other violations, whether it be license, insurance, or registration, things of that nature, for a total of 97. Obviously, some got more than one citation. 97 citations out of 83 traffic stops. Now, when you compare that to the same time frame, the July 1st, 2016 to July 1st, 2017, there were 13 tickets issued on McCoy. 26 on Benstein, 37 on South Commerce Road. So when you stop and look at it, we're in the neighborhoods. We're not driving up and down. We are in the neighborhoods. The exception being the other throughway is Glengarry, which we wrote 194 citations. And it's kind of like you have to get out of the driveway sometime. So during that whole time, 564 citations were written around the village of Wolverine Lake. Now remember, 97 of those 500, or nearly 600 tickets, almost 100 of them, were on your street. And we understand that it is very difficult, and it's a very high traffic area. We're looking for alternatives also. We're looking to be able to try to satisfy, but meanwhile, we're doing the enforcement we have to do. With the TIA, which is the Traffic Improvement Association, coming out, some of you may have noticed, you've already got the rubber things across the road to count the traffic and things like that. We've also sent notices to the local landscape companies, telling them if they're going to be coming through there, they're going to be issuing citations, and they're very expensive citations for commercial vehicles. This week, because we were told that we couldn't do it because they were not considered, they're considered local commercial, which they service certain areas, but the through traffic, because after I talked to the guy from TIA, he said, no, they're not. Those are cut through because they're the landscape companies on Ladd Road. They're not adjacent. They can go out Ladd Road to Maple Road, just like she said, Miss Gilly down here said. So we can, you know, we have sent those letters. In fact, the deputy chief went to their businesses today to make sure they received those letters. Obviously, if you were out on Penny Lake today, you saw Sue's landscape truck stopped down the road because he didn't get the letter in time. And so my deputy chief gave him a letter, had some numbers on it, and a court date. So they will not be coming back through there again. So we are doing something. Obviously, you guys, I know we hear you loud and clear. Obviously, we went to the Traffic Improvement Association to try to get something done. So we are doing something. I want to do something too. And I think I told you guys that. You guys see us out there all the time, whether it's me or my other officers, especially in the afternoons. The problem is this traffic is continuing to increase. This whole area traffic is continuing to increase. It's now affecting the side roads. With the closing of M5 earlier in the year, that really drove a lot of traffic through there. And now people are creatures of habit. They're sticking with it. So we're trying to eliminate that. Our hands are limited to what we can do because it is a public road. It is a public subdivision. It's not private. You guys live on private lots, but the road is public. We can't tell them they can't use it. There are certain things we can do to deter that, but we cannot tell them they cannot use those roads. So we're looking for alternatives, and that's kind of where it stands. So.
I guess I don't understand because it's a residential neighborhood.
It is a residential neighborhood, but it is a public road. It is.
Every neighborhood on Wolverine Lake is a residential neighborhood.
Yes, ma'am.
They don't have through traffic like we do.
Yeah, a lot of them do.
Was it public 45 years ago when it was closed off?
It was public. It's still public. It has always been a public road. Once the builder has completed the work, am I correct in stating this? Once the builder has completed the work and it's been made up to code, they will turn it over to a public street.
Right.
That's what happens.
Why was the barricade up there for so many years? And then because fire and EMS and first responders couldn't get through, they took it down and never put it back. I could understand it not being put back.
It was put up originally when Dunreath ended at Dunreath, right there. West Road was put in, and it was done that, it did that way, or they put that subdivision in with the expectation of opening that road.
They didn't do it for years.
And again, I don't know, that was 40 years ago?
Yeah, well.
47.
Okay.
Where were you?
Yeah. Sixth grade.
Sixth grade.
Kathy, I completely understand, and I completely agree. However, those are public roads. We just cannot close those roads. So I will, All right,
Okay,
hold
so.
on. I'm done. Go ahead and open it up to the public.
All right,
Go
so let me
ahead.
get a motion to open to the public. Motion Stack, second Duff, all in favor? Aye. Okay, so let's get some public comment. Actually, before we open, one other thing I wanted to mention. Just so folks know, we've become increasingly aware of this problem over the summer. In fact, I brought it to the chief and the administrator, I think back in May or so when the M5 first closed. I live down on the south side of the village too, and it's, pretty evident that traffic has increased there, and with just about every east-west road in southwest Oakland County impassable at the moment, traffic patterns have gone. So, we're aware of it. We're gonna work on it. And I just wanted folks to know. Now, let's go to the open to the public, and come on up, give us your name and address.
Tracy Burt, 1410 Sunset. So I have that corner lot at Sunset and Penny Lake. When we bought the house in 2012, we knew we would be buying into a family-oriented neighborhood. We bought the house shortly after Halloween. We purposefully went there on Halloween night to see everybody trick-or-treating. We were wanting a family-friendly environment. We started our family. We now have 2 young kids. We immediately put a fence up when we bought the house, not only for the dogs that I have, I'm a veterinarian, but for the kids' safety in the backyard on a corner lot, knowing there's no sidewalks. I didn't fully understand the level of traffic since we now live there for 4 years, and now that I have those kids physically and not just hoping for them, every time we walk on that road, I literally say to my daughter, hold my hand so cars understand I have control of you. And I say, get over to the grass, get over to the gravel. This is a very busy street. I have to literally verbally warn them every single time. It is incredibly scary. There's texting and driving. I don't care. Everybody knows about that. I don't care how many arrests or tickets are written. If one person texting is not paying attention, they're going to hit me and my children and my dog. And that's it. We're done. Because they go too fast. And the number of tickets, I appreciate that. I love the police presence. I've been distracted trying to get them to daycare, probably going too fast too. Everybody makes mistakes, and then I see them and I'm like, crap, But that being said, it just goes to show you by how many tickets are written, how much traffic there really is. So it's just disheartening because I really can't enjoy being outside with my kids and feel comfortable, especially in this day and age when you are outside and you can do that, because you can't just let them go out and play anymore. It's just not, you can't do that. So when we are out there, now I have another thing to worry about. So I know it's a public place. I know speed bumps have been turned down because of plows. I really think technology is pretty incredible. I can't imagine a few speed bumps in key places wouldn't be tolerated. I don't know. So I would like people to reconsider that. Maybe we have to go to Oakland County. I don't know. But I obviously wasn't present when Dunreath was closed off. I'm only 35. I don't know about that. But my parents live in Benstein Crossing, and my dad is guilty of cutting through our neighborhood every single morning to go to work. But I can promise you this, he's a safe driver, and he does it to spy on my house. Kathy's Jeep was in my driveway yesterday at 8 a.m. Whose car was in your driveway? I'm like, oh, Kathy's. She was over for coffee. Oh, okay. So, he's my father. He's my police officer, right? So, but if I had really fully understood, I wouldn't have bought that house. I just wouldn't have. And I'm not in a financial position to move. And I love my neighbors. I don't know them very well because I work and I'm busy, but the ones that I do know, I love. And I don't want to have to move. But it's very, very risky to live on that street. And I can't even, if my dog got loose, my kids got out of the house, I don't trust anyone driving on that road. And just that little short stint from Meadow at Kathy's house, the neighbor behind me, to my house, I cannot walk that short little span of 2 backyards on that street without being petrified. So I implore you guys to please help us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Tim Wollner. I live at 483 Penny Lake. across the street from her, next to them, next to her. We just moved in May. Me and my wife, we just moved in May. We came from Livonia. One of the things that drew us out here was we wanted to get away from the busyness. We lived in Livonia, 3 streets off of 5 Mile, near Farmington. And we had a cut-through street to get from 5 Mile to I-96. I can say the traffic volume right now is equivalent since we've been here. We also have 2 kids, one of our youngest being special needs, so we're scared to death. He's not allowed to be in the front yard by himself, and even when he is by himself, it's basically we're holding him by hand. So when this all got presented, and especially the meeting we had a month ago at Kathy's house when the state representative showed up, one thing I have seen is an increased police presence, which is we're very thankful for. And in fact, our driveway ends right between the 2 stop signs, and they were out there this morning. I think they had 3 cars, Greg, and pulled over, and 3 cars within, and they were the police were sitting in our end of our driveway, and our car just went right through, like right by them. They almost had to like hit them to get. I mean, they're just not seeing stuff, I guess, and it happens all the time. I could sit there and watch, and I mean, we'll yell, we'll scream, whatever. So what I did is I kind of looked at the map around this area. I wanted to find something similar. What I found, I actually printed off the map. It's in Commerce Township, North Commerce Lake. Going up Commerce, north of Oakley Park, then it hits Commerce where you can take a left to go to the hospital. That intersection, especially during rush hour, is really busy. Okay, the traffic can get backed all the way up to Oakley Park. So what I did notice is I kind of looked at the map, and what I did is I traced it out. There is a cut-through street that will pretty much put you about a half mile down Commerce that you can cut through, navigate through a neighborhood, and basically pop out at the hospital. So I was like, all right, I want to drive down that road. I want to see what it is. This is what I observed. Very first thing, no through traffic. Speed limit signs posted like every 5 feet, it seemed like. 15 miles an hour. Speed bumps, not real impactful speed bumps, but speed bumps, slow rollers. You had to slow down to get to them, to get over them, otherwise you'd have damage. But one of the other things I noticed, it didn't matter. I was coming up to a street, looked down to the right, and it was a dead-end street, 3-4 houses on each side of the road. There was a stop sign, 3-way stop at every single one of those intersections. Spoke to a couple people that live in the neighborhood. They said traffic was greatly reduced. It's a hindrance. It's becoming, with the lower speed limit, the speed bumps, the excessive amount of stop signs, I guess you can call it, really put people saying, you know what, this isn't even worthwhile cutting through here anymore. So that was one of the things that got brought up was, why can't we have these? And I've heard, well, we can't do it because it's a county road. Well, we called the county, they said, no, it's a village road. We can't do speed bumps because the snow plows. Well, there's neighborhoods that have snow plows. Well, we can't put up extra stop signs. Some of those were put there and they were removed. Well, I guess I really just don't understand why we can't put extra stop signs, reduce the speed limit, 25 to 15, look at the slow rolling speed bumps, a couple of them maybe, because from Wolverine and Penny Lake, there's enough time to get to the stop sign if they even stop for it, and the one in front of my house, that there's a significant gap right there where they can get up to speed. And it's relatively quick that they get up to speed. And especially with a lot of the bigger trucks, they're hard to stop even if they only are going 25. So even if it's knocked down to 15, the stop gap is a little bit less if they have to make an emergency stop, because a truck pulling landscaping supplies traveling at 25 miles an hour, albeit the speed limit still takes more to stop if they have to, if the speed limit was 15. So it's kind of what I've seen. And I did, like I said, I went driving around, did some research on some other neighborhoods around here. I don't know where it'll go, or what the traffic or what the committee will say. But I guess my question is, if they come back on the study and say, we can do X, Y, and Z, how do we get it done? So,
And at what cost for someone's hurt? That's the key. This is our safety, our neighborhood. Someone's going to get hurt.
Yeah,
There's
not-
dogs that were, I mean, people last
Okay,
weekend.
let's just for sake of public meeting order, let's go one at a time. But if you want to come on up, come on up to the mic.
Kevin Bodis, 1408 Meadow. My house is right on a corner lot, so I see the speeds. I have a little dog, no children, but the children in our neighborhood had like a lemonade stand last weekend, for instance. They got it set up, prime location on the corner. People are flying by. They're holding liquid in their hand on my lawn, and people are still zipping by, like not even blinking an eye. All day, I felt really obligated as a citizen to be out there while they were out there for the 4 hours, because I was like, I stood right 50 feet from them, because the people, they acknowledge them, they wave and keep flying. I'm talking, they hit the stop sign, they gun it to the next stop sign, maybe do the rolling stop, and just keep going. I have a little dog. We've lived in the neighborhood for 10 months. I work for the schools in Walled Lake, and I came from Ferndale previously, and Ferndale's a very populated area. I was 3/4 of a mile off Woodward, and I've never seen just a lack of concern for our neighborhood and for the children that are in the neighborhood and adults, for people that are rushing to work, because it's prime times. It's 8 o'clock in the morning, 7 in the morning till 9, and then it's from 4 to 7 at night. Everything in between is limited, I would say. Weekends are a little bit more, but it just depends on, I mean, those are prime peak times. And I know that's when I see the officers out there, but they can't sit out there 24/7. And it's getting to the point where it's a hindrance and a safety issue more than anything, I would say, at this point. And with the neighborhood changing as far as the dynamic, more children are coming in, and I'd hate to be the one that had to make that call or have our public enforcement people come out to pick up a kid, or an adult for that matter. And because there's no regard to the speed limit whatsoever. If we changed it to 15, they would still go 25. If we keep it at 25, they're still going 45. It's just 81, 90 tickets in a year. We see 100 to 200 cars a day. And on a slow day, on a couple hours, on a slow day. And out of those, probably 40 out of the 100 or so are violating some sort of regulation. So it's just, I'm concerned at this point we're at a stage where we want to have children, and I don't know, I invested into the community as a stakeholder in the schools, as well as wanting to be a part of the community, and I can't say that I would have a child or adopt a child to be on the corner where I'm at right now. It's just not safe. So, thank you.
And just as a point around the amount of traffic, with the two speed sign studies that we did in the last month or two, it's averaging around 600 cars per day. So.
Wow.
No.
Average?
You had a battery mix sign that died?
Average volume per day was May to June, 658 per day, and in June to July was 576.
One way.
Yes, one way. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You missed out on a lot of revenue. Get those cops out there writing tickets. We could use the money in Wolverine.
I think we would need more cops to write more tickets.
No, excuse me, let me say one quick,
Wait.
since it's a state and a county road, why isn't the state police giving us a hand? Why isn't the Oakland County Sheriff giving us a hand?
Why does Wolverine Lake have to do all of the hard work?
Okay, and just to be clear, it is actually in the village, and it is a village-maintained road right now, but, so that's why we've got our village police on that. Let's go to the young lady at the microphone.
I'm Gina Patrika Tucker. I live at 465 Penny Lake. I've resided in the village for 25 years, 9 years at the north side of the lake on Hermosa, where my parents still reside, and 16 years on Penny Lake. My husband's ready to leave. He's done. My husband's battling stage 3 cancer right now. We have to go out on our lawn and pick up people's trash. My car was totaled out in front of our house while I was we were having a septic field put in. A guy partying at the apartments at South Commerce Road cut through to his apartment on Maple and Ladd and totaled my car. A woman scooting down the road in a minivan hit a dog in front of my house. Going pretty good. She was going pretty good. The dog has severe brain damage, is bleeding all over the place in front of my house. A police officer has to come and shoot him dead in front of my driveway. I've raised 4 children in this village. One of my children passed away in my home. He was born with a rare disease. My brother passed away of a heroin overdose on Hermosa in my parents' house. This is my home. These police officers have been to my home several times and have supported me. I'm in a crisis in my life again, and I don't want to move. This is my home. Every single day there are cars. 4 days ago, a woman's car broke down in front of my house. She's got a baby in the car. These cars, my neighbor Kathy came over to help her. These cars are flying by her. She tries to get her car going again. I'm ready to call the police. She backs her car back out. They're going on my lawn to get around this poor girl. I got passed coming here tonight on my own street. This is every day, all day. The dog was hit at 8:30 at night. It was still daylight. This was last summer. My car was totaled at 1:30 in the morning. My son came home to visit me from Grand Rapids with my 2-year-old grandson and was passed by an elderly woman trying to pull into our driveway at 1:30 in the morning. This is 24 hours a day. I'm tired. My husband is done. My husband is battling with an abscess tooth and cancer treatments right now, and I was ready to take him to the emergency room, and he told me to get here. I'm tired. I'm done. This is my home. I don't want to move. My neighbors are my support system and have been for 25 years, and I've been through a lot. So I just hope you guys consider, I don't know, you guys took a stop sign out on us. The guy that hit my car, he went around the curve on 2 wheels, landed between 2 houses, and still got away on foot. And had the support system of 2 guys chasing him out of there. His 2 buddies picked him up at the corner of West and Dunry. He felt guilty. He confessed to his mother at the hospital. He felt guilty, and that's how we found out who the guy was at all. I don't want to leave. This is my home. It's been my home. I don't want to leave my neighbors, my friends, but I can't take it anymore. I can't take it anymore. I've put so much work into my house. I don't even know if I can afford to move. I want to take care of my husband in our home without all the traffic noise, without people throwing their trash on my lawn, without people speeding. The 2 streets, 2 stop signs everybody's talking about when they come up here to speak, my house is smack dab in the middle of those 2 stop signs on Penny Lake. And this is every day, all night. I'm kept up by the traffic noise. I'm just tired.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Hi guys, ladies. My name's Greg Zerber. I was here last month when I put this on the agenda, so I've said my piece already. You don't want to hear it again. What I want to do is I want to thank the police officers and the board for listening to this. This is what we live every day. I've been here, how long we been here? 35? 35 years. I was here when the gate was here, okay? And I've seen it progress to where it is. And it's grown. Okay, it is grown, but it's out of control. I want the chief to finish what he was talking about before he was so rudely interrupted. First, you were talking, and then they had brought people up. You didn't finish what you wanted to say.
You know what?
I think you understand what we're up against, and we understand what you're up against. We're trying to find a solution, just like you guys are. We've hired professional people to come in and give us options. And when we talked about, earlier we talked about the, I think he's gone now, the streets off of Commerce and Commerce up in Commerce. Those were actually private roads through there, so you know. They can put up as many stop signs as they want. They can put up speed bumps. Same with Royal Shores and another place that they cut through. Those, they can put up stop signs, they can put up speed bumps. And they can put up no through traffic because those are private roads. They can actually put up no trespassing signs. However, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, and it's not really worth the hassle. However, we are looking at ways of trying to address the situation. That's why we brought in professionals. I did a traffic study in 2012, and we've compared things since then, and I told you guys before, yeah, traffic has increased, but what can we do to solve that? I think part of the problem is with the trucks, we're going to be able to address that issue
We appreciate that.
because the commercial trucks. Going forward, as far as the cut-through traffic, I'm waiting to hear what TIA has to say, and, you know, like I said, they were out here, I spent all afternoon with them. It happened to be the same afternoon that Kathy had her garage sale, but we were out there, and we drove through, and we drove different ways. You know, we have a major road, which is Wolverine Drive. It runs up to Lucille, which is also another major road that goes down to Ladd Road. Those are all major roads, considered major roads. They're all striped. And people don't follow that because, just like water, they take the shortest route and the path of least resistance. So we're trying to find an option here, and I guess that's, well, we're trying to find, yeah, a toll road, yeah, that'd work. We'll see what we can do. Again, these are public roads. We have to make it least intrusive for you folks as well as easiest to get through for emergencies too. So we're working on it, and that's one of the things I did want to know,
So
let you know.
Let's just continue with a
Yeah.
little bit of order. Let's
I just wanted to thank everybody for what they're doing right now. It's much appreciated. In 6 weeks, 6 weeks or that, we should have some direction where we possibly can go with this. And we've given our ideas. You have the paperwork. You know, we have our ideas. We just didn't come at you and say, we got a problem and not try to give you something to resolve it with, because we sat down and figured stuff out that we might be able to use. And that's, you know, thank you for all of it. Let's see what comes out of it, and we appreciate what you're doing. I do, I appreciate it. I don't want to move either, I'm ready. I've been here for 35 years, and wife and I talked today. It was the first time we've ever talked. I'm retired now, and I want to stay, you know, because it is a good village, it's good people, but that's the first time in 5 years we talked about leaving, because I can't cut my grass without hollering something. Anyway, he knows that.
Thank you.
All right, so let's, one more call to the public, and then we'll maybe close off and go back into discussion on
Right,
board.
and my name's Kathy Nichols. I'm pretty much the one who's initiated this whole nightmare, although it needed to be addressed a long time ago. I'm on the corner of Penny Lake and Meadow Drive. I fear every day for my husband and Valerie Smith's husband. They're out there yelling at these guys driving down the street at 40 miles an hour. Somebody's gonna have a heart attack. I'm worried about the road rage. You can yell at these people. Mr. Law sitting here, he yelled at a young man the other day. He basically swore at him and took off. There's no respect. They don't abide by any laws or rules. I can't cut my lawn. I pick and choose the hours that I cut my grass on that corner because there is no respect for me getting up to the top of my ditch to turn my lawnmower around to come back down. I can't walk my dog on Penny Lake anymore. I'm terrified like Tracy Bird is. You can't walk your pet because, God forbid, you let too much leash off on your road. And the dog gets into the road, these guys going 40 miles an hour don't care. The litter on the road is horrendous. Again, Valerie's husband, Mike, I have been out there, Kevin, repeatedly are out there picking up beer bottles, whiskey bottles. Yesterday, before I cut my grass, I picked up McDonald's, Subway, and another one. I can't cut my lawn until I can pick up the garbage. I just think there's gotta be another alternative. There's gotta be something we can do to stop this. I appreciate everything John and his officers are doing. There certainly has been a lot more of your people out there enforcing stuff. You know, I had to do the road study back in 2014. We know those numbers have more than doubled since then. Anything the board can do, we would greatly appreciate. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anybody else while we're open to the public? Yeah, sure, come on, sir. Or we'll get you the microphone if you want. Yeah.
My name is Chris Law, and I'm at 429 Penny Lake. And I just would like to ask Chief Ellsworth, are we allowed to put like a pylon with a sign on it in the road? Is that a
Not in the road.
You can't
On
put
the
it
shoulder
in,
of the road would be
you
fine.
can't on the
Where
shoulder.
you have had them before.
But once it touches the road, it's
Yeah, you can't do that.
public property. You can't do that.
Nails are okay.
With broken lawnmower blades, except.
All right, thanks. Oh, yeah, one more here.
I'll save you the walk, you can use that one.
Okay. Tony Jazzle, 275 Wolverine Drive. I counted the cars from 4 to 5 was 150 cars. And I wanted, my question is, can you make it a non-public road? How does that happen? To block off Dunreef from Lad Road coming through, that would solve all the policemen's work. That would stop all the traffic and probably be done.
So
Block the road off.
I think that gets back to maybe what we want to talk about up here in
How do
terms
you
of
change it from being a non-public road?
of what we're hoping to get out of TIA.
That is the
So,
answer, to stop the traffic.
So we'll take that question. If we don't have anybody else, I'll close the open to the public and we'll go into discussion up here. So do I hear a motion to close to the public? So moved.
Second.
Motion Duff, second Sinkowitz. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, I think certainly we heard from everybody loudly and clearly about the extent of the problem down there. I will also say what I've said before, which is having been down there, having walked, not so much on Penny Lake, but down on Dunreef, which is the other half of that cut through. It is, there's a lot more traffic there than there used to be. In terms of what we're doing, right now we're going to TIA. I am hoping and expecting to see out of that TIA study and recommendations changes that aren't just, more enforcement or whatever. What they are, I don't know. The thing about roads is they're constrained around a lot of county state law. So we're gonna have to work within the realm of that. But certainly when we get a recommendation back, I would expect to see some sort of traffic change, physical recommendation, something that would be a change down there. And when we get that, I think, we'll have to look at what it is, look at what the costs of that would be. But I think it's something that we really need to take seriously in terms of making a change down there to reduce that traffic.
I want to ask the chief a question. I know when these people came in a couple years ago, we had to remove a lot of signs because technically we had too many signs. And I guess it's not fair to say, well, was the traffic under better control then because we went through this M5 thing that people found shortcuts in how to go. But I guess the question I have is, when we get this information back, does it sound like there's leeway that we can put in speed bumps, or we could put in a lower speed limit, or we could put in more signs? Is it totally up to them, or is it cut and dry?
Those are all loaded questions. First of all, the federal government actually is what regulates our roadways. We have to comply with the federal government. They have certain guidelines we have to meet. What happened was in 2008, federal government came in and said, we want to make everything the same across the United States.
Uniform
The
traffic
signs, the aging population, so we have to make our road signs bigger letters. Thus, we had to replace our street signs here too. But also, because of the reflectivity and different things like that, they all had to be up to code. And it was costing us a lot of money to do that. They extended it, and they extended it again, and they extended it again. And finally, in 2012, they said, you will do this, you will have this all done by 2015. You'll have them all, you'll have a traffic engineer do a study, you will abide by those guidelines. Our traffic engineer was Bob DeCordy, rest his soul. He passed away after a year getting yelled at by everybody that he worked for. Because we actually had to pull 72 stop signs in the village of Wolverine Lake, 72. But you have to remember, every time somebody complained, boom, they stuck up a stop sign. They didn't look for alternatives. And so we had 180 stop signs in the village of Wolverine. You couldn't turn the corner without running into a stop sign. They said on through streets, on any subdivision street, if it was not a main intersection, you couldn't make it a three-way. You could not make it a three-way stop. The only reason I was able to keep the other stop sign down there was because it's a curve. And I said, it's a blind corner, you're not gonna pull it out. They caved on that one. They were gonna pull that one too.
All right, let me ask you a question.
So,
Why-
Let him finish.
We had to comply with the federal government and what the federal government came to us and said we had to comply with. So, Bob DeCordy, the traffic engineer at the time, came through and said, these signs all have to go. We reversed some signs from four-way stops up on Thurston and Del Monte, or Thurston, yeah, and Del Monte, and Tellico, I believe it is. We actually, to break it up a little bit, instead of four ways, we reversed we took two signs out and left it stopped the other way. So the main roads actually stopped to slow the traffic down on some of those. Now we could make it so Sunset doesn't have a stop sign and the other road does. Is that logical? Not really, no. And then we're gonna be in trouble for it, because somebody's gonna run through the end of Sunset. My thing is we have to comply with what the federal government came in and did. We had a traffic engineer that came in and said, this is what you have to do. Myself and our DPW director, Andy Stone, had a list of signs we had to go through and remove. We put that off as long as possible, and I think you guys know, we were supposed to do it in 2012. We didn't do it until 2015. We kind of drug our feet as long as we could, but we had to comply. And we did it slowly. We'd get a little complaints from that subdivision. Then once those subsided, we'd move on to the next one. And really, that's what it was. But it was a constant, painful battle for 3 years to remove those stuff.
And in fairness around some of that removal, I think in a lot of places, it's worked pretty well in terms of speeds have remained reasonably low, traffic quantity has remained reasonably low.
And I agree with that. And there was overkill, and it's just like I said, and I think somebody laughed and said, yeah, that's right. Every time somebody complained, boom, we threw up a stop sign. Well, the problem is not a stop sign, we could have, more enforcement would have been more sufficient. And instead, we didn't do that. We threw up more stop signs. So I'm kind of stuck holding the bag because I'm the one that was here when we had to start pulling all these stop signs out because of the federal regulations. So that's where that comes from. As far as the speed bumps go, there are very, very limited amounts, and it would have to be a special exception in order for a public road to have a speed bump. And they're no longer just the little speed bumps. They are spread over a 5-foot area. It's more like a hump and then a bump.
If you go down East Walled Lake Drive where they put the park in, that is one place where they've been able to.
Because it's a park.
Because it's a park, and it's a crossroad in a park.
There are different ways we might, like I said, I'm waiting for TIA to come back and tell me what we can and what we can't do. But I think part of what we're talking about, and what Ed's question was originally, was what can we do? We had to do, we had to follow the regulations.
Thank you, Chief. I wanted you to explain that clearly to everybody, that this was all out of your hands and our hands, and I guess it's Big Brother in action. It's a shame.
And just to be clear, and I'm gonna put her on the spot, I'm gonna ask our attorney to talk about public road versus private road, and what, because I know there's a lot of talk, well, we'll make it a private road. Unfortunately,
That
that's
is
not
that
even
is
gonna be an
not
option.
legally possible.
I was gonna address that earlier, actually, when the gentleman was talking about townships. Townships cannot own roads in the state of Michigan. So, like villages and cities, the public roads are under the jurisdiction of that community. Then they can have private roads in the subdivisions, in the residential areas, even commercial areas sometimes. The counties are all Oakland County Road Commission in Oakland County. You know, they're all the road commissions the counties own the roads in the townships. Different regulations. The roads are all governed by federal regulations, the public roads, but different governing policies, different rules, different procedures, depending on the type of community you're in. So in the village, roads are either public or they are private. The private road, and I'm guessing you're on a platted subdivision, how old is this sub? Is it platted?
Yeah, I'm sure it's platted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the plat is what dedicates the roads. So when they were developed, when these subdivisions were developed, the proprietors, the developers at the time dedicated the roads to the public. The communities take over then. In order to change a road from a public to a private road in a plat, you have to amend or vacate the plat. You have to vacate the roadway. It falls to both sides. It no longer becomes a road. In this instance, it will not happen. It cannot be changed to a private road. So that's not an option that is available.
So from a legal perspective, how do we as a village then petition or implore?
So I think
What they're
really
doing.
the path forward is what we're doing now, which is
Yes.
bring in TIA, get a full traffic study that's going to show amount of traffic, speed, size of the road, length, residential characteristics, all of those things associated with it. And then also, when we get that study, it should come back with recommendations for what we can do to alleviate traffic problems in that area. And I can sit here and make up a lot of things about what they could do, but it may very well be something that I'm not thinking of at all. It may involve doing a one-way in one area. It may involve, there's all sorts of things that could come through that. I just have no idea, and I think we need to get that information from them before we can make a good decision.
It's not just signage that they're gonna address in the traffic
Yeah,
study, so.
there could be other things that they recommend. They may recommend installing sidewalks in
Keep
the
in
area.
touch with your local politicians. I know a couple of them have already come forward, so if it's gonna come from the
My
government.
husband's already been at my house.
I know.
He's already
Don't
involved.
quit. Keep doing that. Get them all.
Question, and I always forgot what I was going to ask you. John, am I wrong on the other side of the lake, the Del Monte, all of those? I think the last time I was through, there's a stop sign on every corner.
No. There's one stop sign left there. One stop sign, and that is on, I believe.
It might not be Del Monte. What's the road that runs
Connecticut.
around the
Just
lake?
north of the lake, just north of the lake,
Yeah.
that's Del Monte, there's one stop sign.
There used to be a
There's
lot.
One stop sign
Yeah.
is because the bike path is there.
Yep.
That was the only reason I could keep that one.
And there used to be a
One
bunch
stop
of them.
sign.
I thought I was through there.
There used to be 3 stop signs through there.
Yeah.
I had to
Corner
remove
had a
it.
stop sign on
Three or
Can I
four.
buy
yeah.
one of them signs and put it in my driveway? They're turning around in my driveway, I'm getting sick of that crap.
it. They turn around in the driveway.
They don't know how to read their GPS. It's a problem. I got one. Oh, I'm lost. What the hell? Get out of my driveway.
So, okay, so I think that's what we've got here tonight. I mean, we're sitting here, we're waiting. What I want everybody to know is, we hear what you're saying, we take it really seriously. We're gonna try to work with you to find a solution that works. We are constrained within certain laws about what we can and can't do in terms of regulating public roads, but I think there's a consensus on the board that we're gonna try to find out a good solution for this. So, sure.
I do wanna address you real quick. If you guys have a neighborhood meeting, once we get this information, if you would rather have it out at your place or in the area so we can talk about some of the solutions they come up with, I would be more than happy to come out and do that. And I'll see if I can get the TIA to come out.
That would be awesome.
So we can discuss it, rather than having to try to pack the council meeting. I'd rather come to you guys and make it more comfortable for everybody, so everybody has an idea of what we're doing, so.
Yeah, and
as soon as I
I'm
hear
happy to come on
something,
down,
I'll get
too.
ahold of Kathy, and obviously she's good about spreading the word.
Not
So-
anymore, she doesn't go on.
Yeah, well, we'll do what we can to come out here, okay?
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, everybody. So, no motion tonight, I think, out of that. I think we're waiting for action
Yep.
from, return on TIA, but stay tuned and we'll let you know what we get back and what we can do. Okay.
I don't think, is that what it was?
Come out and volunteer for the corn and batteries, the mic is just 3.5.
What do you need, a battery?
Battery for the mic.
Let me go grab it.
What size?
You got it, Mike? Yeah, because it's died.
All right, we'll give folks a moment to try. I am not hurt at all.
Not a problem.
Put it back in.
We're used to it.
And
And he is.
the administrator would like to mention, we're about to buy a copier next on the
exciting.
agenda. It's very exciting.
Yeah.
Well,
Everybody's bailing.
take care of yourself. Have a good evening. Oh, you bet.
I believe we've lost our treasurer who did most of the research on that, but I think we can probably proceed on
Yeah,
this one.
I think it's a no-brainer.
This one's pretty straightforward.
I'll second Ed.
So.
I make a motion that based on the information presented to us, that we purchase our new copier at a cost of
$5,094.
there.
Motion Sinkowitz, second Stack.
Yes.
All right, further discussion? Nope, very clear information, very clear write-up, very clear need. Roll call vote? Yes.
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 Yes. I didn't hear.
All right, next item, request to purchase DPW truck, total of $50,589 from budgeted funds.
Motion to present, or second, vice president.
Motion Stack, second Duff, discussion?
No, Andy did a good job talking about it last time.
Yeah, we talked about it in the budget session, I think it's really needed.
The truck is cheap compared to all the rest of it.
Yeah.
And I did want to mention that I thought the aluminum panels, aluminum.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense on it, especially
We
given
keep
the
stuff a long time.
Yep.
Yep.
And we're not gonna carry rocks and boulders.
So, seeing no further discussion, let's go to a roll call vote on that one.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. All right, request to purchase Cliff Cottrell Memorial Monument, 1,631. Actually, let me ask the administrator to introduce this one briefly.
Yeah, we talked about this at budget time. We are out of room for more names on the Cliff Cottrell Monument. And so we had budgeted, I think it was $2,000 for the purchase of a second monument. And, we'll certainly leave it up to council if you want us to go ahead and move forward with this. The quote that Andy received would be an exact match of what we have out there. We're fine to buy it now. We're fine to wait until we have another nomination. It's really up to you. But if we do want to move forward, we think that this would be a fairly good way to do it. So that's what we're.
Nathan, between the bronze and the other one, which one will hold the most names?
You mean if we were to buy a new one?
Yes.
They would be the same. So it
Okay.
would be the same number of names on the second as the
And you're
first.
saying that the granite is about half the price?
No. This is all part of the same monument plan.
Base.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so
Plaque.
we
Base
buy the
with
base
bronze
and get the
plaque.
plaque.
I got it, okay.
So the total would be $1,631, and it would include the bronze plaque and the granite base.
I'm
So
okay.
we'd remove the one we have?
No, we would put this right next
Okay,
to
so
it.
keep the one we got, add another name
Yep.
if we can, and then have another one exactly like it.
Well, we're full on the
So
one we have.
we're full on the one that we have, so before we can add any additional names,
Okay.
we need to install a new memorial with a new plaque.
And a base and all.
Yep. So I'm of two thoughts here, one of which is, there's no requirement to do a cliff control every year. We may or may not, it depends on what nominations come forward. The other of which is, we certainly are going to do additional cliff controls at some point in the village future. I believe this is a pretty reasonable quote. We haven't gone out
I agree.
for formal quotes, but it's a pretty reasonable amount for the price. So we could just proceed and get it ready and installed.
It'll probably take some time to get it together anyway, so
Yeah.
it would probably be prudent to get it ahead of time.
So do I hear, not right now. Hold on a second.
So moved.
Do I hear a motion to open to the public?
So move.
Second.
Motion Nedra, second Scott, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, question.
I'm sorry. What is the Cliff Memorial?
Okay, the Cliff Control Memorial is essentially the village's highest honor for lifetime contributions to the village.
Okay.
So on the current plaque, you would think I would know this, we have, I think, 10 or 12.
It's right outside.
Yeah, it's literally right outside there. Joann Sullivan, who spoke earlier tonight, actually was our most recent
Appointee.
And we have another one
appointee.
sitting
We
there.
have another one there, Gene Mikowski, with long service to the village. So that's what it is.
I didn't
Yep.
even know what it was.
Okay.
All right, glad to clear that up. Motion closed?
So move.
Motion
Second.
Nedrow, second Duff. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, so I think we're okay to proceed. Let's proceed, let's get it ready. At some point, we will, we'll use it, so. And now that's the motion I think somebody wanted to make
So
originally.
moved.
Motion Nedrow, second Duff, to proceed with the purchase of the new memorial plaque for the Cliff Cottrell at the cost as presented.
1631.
1631. Any further discussion? Roll call vote?
Duff?
Yes.
Staff?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Nedrow?
Yes.
Hendricks? McGee?
Yes.
Dumont?
Yes. All right, thank you, council. Okay, next item, introduction to ordinance to amend zoning map. Let me see if I can give a quick preface here myself, and then the attorney and the administrator can correct me if I misspeak. So, you may recall, we made the change in zoning. Now we have to update the map itself. That actually takes an ordinance change also. There are a couple of routes for doing this. We could potentially consider the change that we made as the introduction of the ordinance to change it, which we didn't have formally written out. But we have the ordinance written out right here. There's no pressing need to do it this month. And we put it in the agenda as introduction of this ordinance. So my preference would be to just go ahead, introduce it now, pass it next month. There's no difference either way. so.
Sounds fair.
Do I hear a motion to introduce
So
this
moved.
ordinance? Motion Nedrow, second Stack. Further discussion? Ordinance, let's get a roll call vote.
Staff?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Nedrow?
Yes.
Segwick?
Yes.
McGee?
Yes.
Dumont?
Yes.
Duff?
Yes.
Thank you, motion carries.
And I believe this essentially alleviates us from amending our master plan. Is that right, Jennifer?
This is an amendment to your zoning
Right,
map.
right,
So
right.
this doesn't affect your master plan at all.
Correct.
All right, next item, resolution of appreciation for the CW3 Soccer Association. As we discussed last month, it was a heated park discussion. Things got said, and there were a lot of aspersions cast one way or the other. And I think what we wanted to do with a resolution is make it clear to everybody that we value the CW3, we value the service that they provide to our youth and our residents, and that, they have been a good partner for the village in exploring what we didn't proceed with. So this is the resolution as written, and I'll read it out. Whereas CW3 has been providing youth soccer recreational activities for children and families in Commerce, Wolverine Lake, Wixom, and Walled Lake since 1999. And whereas 122 families from the village of Wolverine Lake currently participate in CW3 programs, enjoying the friendship, competition, and active lifestyle benefits provided by the organization. And whereas village officials recently had the opportunity to hear directly from CW3 staff members about their operations, mission, and organization goals and needs. Therefore, be it resolved that the Village of Wolverine Lake does hereby express support and appreciation for the work of CW3 and hopes for many years of continued activity and growth within the region.
Very nicely done.
So, I think what I would like is a motion to pass that resolution.
Second.
So, I think I heard Stack, motion Stack, second Sinkowitz.
Well, you need our signatures on this.
I
Something
would
like
actually like that, I think, for this one, if you were okay with that. I
Yep.
think it would be a
Yep.
nice touch, and I
Yeah.
have a clean version printed up, but if you could stop by here before you leave, I'll have it out.
Okay. Because I think that'd be nice.
Yeah, I think that would be good too. All right, all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed?
Better though.
Motion carries. What?
I think a roll call vote would be better though.
I hear a call for a roll call vote. Let's get a roll call vote on this one.
Scott?
Yes.
Medro?
Yes.
Sinkowitz?
Yes.
McGee?
Yes.
Lemon?
Yes.
Duff?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right.
Motion carries. I think that was a good idea. Thanks. All right, so I think that was well written. Thanks. Thank you. Okay, item K, discussion of offer of donated Wolverine monument for Village Hall. So, you know, I open up my village email and occasionally things come in that surprise me.
Yeah, that was a surprise.
That's a good way to state it.
This was a surprise. So, a gentleman got in contact with us. He has some of these Wolverine memorials. He is looking for places that might be interested in putting them up with a memorial plaque for President Gerald Ford, the president from the Wolverine state. He thought a Wolverine Lake might be an appropriate place for a Wolverine. And there's a picture of the statue. It's a pretty good size one. I don't know if we've got a picture of one of that next to.
That's the only
Next
picture.
to folks.
we're up with.
If you can see, it's
31
a.
inches.
Yeah, it's fair size.
Yeah, with the folks
it's a fair
standing
size
next to it,
Wolverine.
yeah. It's probably about 3 feet.
It's about the size of one.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's council's pleasure on this.
Definitely.
I
Take
think
advantage of it.
I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I like it. There you go.
I think it's nice to do a memorial to President Ford.
Put it-
We've had a little back and forth with him.
They've got a bear on Pontiac Trail.
Put it on a chief's car.
Got an old plank.
New hood ornament.
Mr. President, is this something that we would leave outside or inside?
So this would be mounted outside, probably someplace probably around the village complex near the flagpole, perhaps.
So this is
we'd have
made to be for outside?
Yep. It would come
I'd like
with
to make a motion that we take advantage of this donation of the Wolverine sculpture and proceed with the agreement. It's a donation, correct?
Yes.
Yep, full donation.
And find an appropriate location and have our own Wolverine.
Motion Sinkwitz, do I hear a second?
Second.
I heard I think second Dumont was the first second I heard there. So further discussion. Nathan, you've had a little more conversation with this gentleman. You want to give us a little more information? if you've got it?
Yeah, I was a little perplexed, honestly, when we got the email, because I had a hard time understanding exactly what we were talking about. So I provided you with some additional.
That's not a Buckeye, they're only that big. Come on, what's a Buckeye?
And personally, I'm appalled by this, but, just kidding. I will put a jersey on it in scarlet and gray.
Yeah, there you go.
But I think it's totally legitimate. He's reached out to numerous other cities. There's been some chatter on the city manager email site. So other cities have been made the same offer. Some have said no, some have said yes, some are exploring it. He's offering to provide it, install it. All we'd have to do is just wipe it down a few times a year. So if council, seems like council wants to move forward, I'll be in touch with them this week to see what the process would be like. I'll get with Andy and maybe a few others to try to scout out the best location. He had requested somewhere in proximity of the flagpole, and I think we can accommodate that somewhere out front.
Is he, he's not a resident?
No,
but-
he's from Jackson, Michigan.
Well, I think once we get this installed, we should make sure that our next appreciation dinner, this man is invited
Yeah.
and honored.
Very good.
I will definitely extend that invitation, and he is I think this is what he's doing nowadays. He responds to emails instantly, and he's very aggressive, and it's a great offer, so. yeah, well, good job.
And I'm sure when we get it, we'll do a dedication ceremony and have it. And I have to admit, if we were, a village with a different name, I might be like, well, I don't know, Wolverine, that's very cool. I'm not sure that we want to, but Wolverine Lake on Wolverine is a pretty natural fit.
Yeah,
so.
that kind of goes together, doesn't it?
Party look kind of goofy.
It works
right?
pretty well.
This party would look kind of
So,
You know, what we could do is always put up just a little Buckeye right down by the.
I've got plenty.
Under the foot of the Wolverine,
Oh, no.
like, pushing it down into the ground.
No, that never happened.
soon we'll have a Spartan out there and a Boilermaker.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a motion, we have a second. Let me get a roll call for this. I don't think anybody's involved. Let's get a roll call on it.
Pedro?
Yes.
Sinkwitz?
Yes.
McGee?
Yes.
Demont?
Yes.
Dahl?
Yes.
Staff?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
All right. We're gonna have one big old Wolverine out there. Honest to God, just opened up my email and then there's a picture of a big brass Wolverine. Okay.
Nailed down pretty good.
Item L, second call to the public, opportunity for citizens to address the council regarding any and all village business.
Linda Champagne, 250 Oak Island, and also I am a board member for Commerce Parks and Recs. I didn't actually, and by the way, I don't feel as bad as I look.
And I didn't do it.
He didn't do it.
That's not what she said.
Yeah, you should talk.
Yeah.
I didn't see on the, I see on the agenda, you just talked about the CW3, but I wasn't at last month's meeting, but I did watch some of it and saw that you'd asked Mr. Sinkowitz to do an apology. I didn't hear any follow-up about that apology, but at my last meeting at Parks and Recs, Mr. Lamb and I had an opportunity to have a discussion, and he stated that he had a call from Mr. Sinkowitz and that no time was an apology offered to him or CW3 about those statements that were stated in the June meeting. Mr. Lamb is still offended by them, and he also stated that he reminded Mr. Sinkowitz at the end of their phone call that he would be seeing all of us in council for that retractment in 2018 when the statements of Mr. Sinkowitz were found to be untrue. So I just wanted to parlay that to you because I didn't hear you guys talking about it. So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Larry Scullon, 2432 Brisbane. I is just wondering if the master plan is still on the table, or what's the status
For
of
the
that?
park, for the park, what we're gonna do is we're gonna bring it to a work session meeting in September with Park and Rec. And the date for that is, it's the 27th.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Mr.
Oh, I gotta go over there.
Yeah, you gotta go over there.
Take the walk.
Yeah, now that we got you signed up for the board, now we
Yeah.
make you walk.
Yeah.
Michael Hurst, 2567 Tampa Drive. I was going to say something smart about the wakes in my no-wake zone, but after what I heard about the traffic, it's really inappropriate. But instead, I'd like to talk about U.S. flags. Probably the second most dominant thing on our lake are flags. There's a proper way to dispose of a flag. It's actually called a flag retirement. And I'd like to understand how we could pursue that as a village. In other communities, one we lived in D.C., had a deposit box, looked like a mailbox, and then you take the flag and you have a ceremony, usually with the VFW or Legion, American Legion. So I'd volunteer to pursue this. Kind of a good idea. I think the flag's part of our community, and I didn't know how to proceed, so that's what I'm asking about.
Okay, I think it's a good idea. I think
It's my wife's idea.
Boy Scout
Yeah,
Yeah, I was gonna say, I thought we had an Eagle Scout project around.
A couple years ago.
Happy to work with Mike.
If there's an Eagle Scout, that'd be a great
Yeah.
project. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
We did that a few years ago with the Eagle Scout. We haven't done anything recently, but if you and me want to get together,
Oh,
we
yeah.
might be able to work something out.
Yeah, the last one to do
Perfect
was
for that.
Ben, down in Laguna.
Yep, down at, yep, and then we
Yeah.
did it out here at the foot pass.
Yeah.
This thing on?
Yeah.
By the way, it's my wife's idea.
That's when Mary and Ginger got the restraining order for me
All
and
right.
John. We were spending too much time together back then.
Anybody else? Second call to the public? Seeing none, I will close the second call. Thank you, everybody. And we will move on to item M, update from Engineer Powell on the paving program.
First of all of you have probably been up and down the streets. The roads themselves are completed, all the roads that were budgeted to be repaved in 2017, 2018 budget. The pavement is down. The streets themselves still have shoulder work to be done, and the major streets need some line work and painting done. I am meeting with ASI probably Friday to have that shoulder work started. And as you know, there are a number of locations, specifically at Wanda and Shanken and Laguna Court, where we had some fairly high pavement. We raised the pavement up in order to dictate where the water was going to go, and so we have some major shoulder work to do in those areas. But otherwise, I'm very pleased with the way the roads themselves turned out, as opposed to the discouragement on my timing for the village parking lot. When we made the decision, we had an original price to do the entire village parking lot with one big contractor, ASI. And that price came in substantially higher than I ever expected it. And when we went down to the smaller type contractors, we have to understand that they don't have the multiple crews, they don't have the time, rain, everything interferes with them more. And in this particular case, the first step in that whole project was the storm sewer work that we did, or that was planned. And so that was the smallest guy, and so he was the most inflexible when it came to getting the work done for the project. So the catch basins are in, you've probably seen them. The big 1,000-gallon storage tanks, the big dry wells are installed underneath the where the pavement's going to go. The culvert out front hasn't been done yet. That's across the front entrance. Those kind of things can be done while the curbing's going in. We are now ready for the curbs to be placed. The curbing guy, curbing contractor is a much more reputable, much bigger project, not more reputable, but bigger contractor. And he is meeting me out there tomorrow. Hopefully the curbing will be installed on Friday, and I'm coordinating that with Nathan and the staff. Once the curbing is in, that concrete, as you can well imagine, has to cure for about 5 days to a week. ASI then will be coming in, regrading the parking lot and paving next week, assuming that all the progress goes. I was really hoping to have it done for your meeting tonight, and I apologize for that. I do want to give kudos to the DPW. When the underground crew finished last night, I came by at about 9 o'clock, and they had everything kind of smoothed out. And I got a hurried call from the chief this morning because there wasn't enough room for the councils as well as the public's cars to back up on the east side of the parcel. DPW stepped up and regraded the parcel, regraded the parking lot, and put some more fill in, and they did an excellent job. And so I wanted to give kudos to DPW. They really stepped up and helped us out a great deal. So with that, I'd be able to answer any questions you might have on the timing or anything that's happened on the roadways. Obviously, there's still some work to be done, but otherwise, I'm able to answer any questions you might have.
Laguna came out great.
We obviously dealt with a few residents that kind of thought that they should have maybe been treated a little differently than most people, let's put it that way, but everything turned out well. I think when the job was done, we had a great many kudos and thanks, and so I think the contractor did an excellent job on our roadways.
Mike, I think Oakview turned out quite well. Most of the residents very happy.
Yeah, we have some issues. We have a broken driveway we have to take care of, and we have some bird baths. We don't, that's one of the reasons we kept our 10% from the payments. because they have to come in and tweak some parking, or tweak some pavement. We don't like water sitting in little bird baths, and they have some things to do. But otherwise, ASI have been very, very professional in their work.
Mike, when you're talking about bringing in material to kind of bring the road up to the property, vice
Right.
versa, are you going to use the
Tailings?
the tailings, the slag, or are you going to use something that will grow?
We have done many things over the years, and what has been received best by the residents is the millings to go down in areas where there's substantial depth to make up, but then topsoil put down and then seed and mulch.
Yep.
So the millings will keep any people that go off from sinking way down in the sod or in the grass. But most people like the grass right up to the edge of the road, and so that's what we've had the best luck doing.
Good.
All right, well, do I hear a motion to pay the pavement invoice for minor roads for 160,844 and for major road 152,440.25?
So moved.
Support.
Motion Duff, second, I thought, Sinkowitz.
Sinkowitz.
All right, further discussion? I just also wanted to add my thanks to the DPW who, without a very full day from them, we would not have been able to accommodate the crowd of Penny Lake folk who showed up tonight.
Agreed.
So,
Well, those guys were working late last night, too. They were down there until 8:30.
They were there till 8:30. I
Yeah.
came by at 9:15 just to make sure that everything was cleaned up, and they cleaned it up, but they didn't make it to where we could park very well.
It's gonna be nice.
It will be great.
all right, further discussion on the motion? Roll call vote?
Sinkwitz.
Yes.
McGee.
Yes.
Dumont.
Yes.
Duff.
Yes.
Staff.
Yes.
Scott.
Yes.
Nedrow.
Yes.
Thank you, Council, very much.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Item N, approval of sale for 1994 DPW truck.
We closed the bids on this truck Monday at noon. As you can see, we had two bids, one for $526 and one for $2,007.69. So obviously, I'm asking for your okay to sell it for $2,007.69.
Are you sure?
I think it's the better bid. I looked at it a long time, and
All right.
that's my
Did
conclusion.
the math on it.
Don't let anybody say that Ohio State University
I know.
education
Right
went to
in.
waste.
Motion to approve as presented. Oh, sharp eyes.
Motion Stack, second Duff. I'm not even into Big Ten war.
Right.
But now that we've got a Wolverine coming to the front
that's
front
right.
lawn.
That'll be cool.
All right, further discussion? All right. Thank you, truck. It served long and well, and I hope the next fellow enjoys it.
Very long.
Let me get a roll call vote.
94.
Yes.
Good Lord.
Yes.
Duff.
Yes.
Staff.
Yes.
Scott.
Yes.
Nedrow.
Yes.
Sinkwitz.
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Item O, promotion of disabled veteran property tax exemption offered by the Michigan Department of Treasury. So, a resident brought this to my attention this month, and I did want to mention it to people. I kind of remembered when it was first passed, but honestly, I'd forgotten a bit about it. But it is a law that was passed a few years ago that disabled veterans are exempt from local property taxes. It's passed by the state. The state does not reimburse the locality for that. It's money that does not go to the municipality. That's the way the state rolls, as we know. But it is a program intended to help disabled veterans, you know, a little bit financially through what may be a difficulty. So I just wanted to bring it to everybody's attention. I thought we might look at including a notice with some of the other things that we included in our tax bills. There's, as you saw in your packets, there's a lot of state information available. It's not just for the village, it would be village and township and I think county taxes as well. So that was really it. It's just a bit of awareness that I wanted to bring to folks that this program exists. If you know a disabled veteran who is a homeowner, it applies to your homestead property tax. It's fairly explicit in what's there, and we have the information at the village if anybody needs the information.
Do we know how many disabled vets we have in the community or no?
7 with a total of $722,000 in taxable value that is exempt. Should also point out that the disability requirement is that the person is 100%
Disabled, okay.
Because I did have an inquiry, I think, last year from someone who was 80%. I don't know how that all works, but
Right.
it's either 100% or not.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So there's a program out there and being used in the village.
Very good.
That's it. I don't think any action note required here, but I just wanted to make everybody aware of it. Item P, discussion of visual materials needed and location of September 27th joint meeting of council.
Yeah, thank you, President McGee. This was something I added to the agenda, and I feel pretty good about what our plan is. I just wanted to clear it with council that I don't think we're going to ask our consultant to revise the drawing of the plan at this time. Obviously, what we did in June is done. It's not going to be in the final version, but he's going to have to revise it anyway after this September 27th meeting. And so I just want to be clear that if people see the current draft, doesn't mean anything's changed from June. It just means that we're waiting until the September meeting to actually get more ideas and then redraw it. So when I ask about visual materials needed, that's what I was talking about. I don't know that it would be wise to have it redrawn when we know there's another round of that coming afterwards. So we'll try to make some notes on the master plan so people aren't confused that maybe the soccer fields are coming back when they're not.
Yeah,
X.
red
So
X.
we'll just do that in-house and go from there. The other question
I believe our engineer has something to
I
say.
will volunteer, at least the plan that we did, I will voluntarily take those off of my drawing and give you something at least
Okay, that'd be
clean
great.
without the.
All we'd really need is just a sketch of the existing.
The fields where they are.
Yeah.
Correct, without the parking lot
Right.
and the soccer field.
Okay, without the parking too, right?
Yep.
So I also just want to make that public, that if anybody sees the old version, please don't be confused. It's just that that's the one that we've received so far. It will be changing. And then I wanted to check with council if they felt like a location change was necessary. I'm not sensing that it is personally. I'm not getting much comment on it, and I know this is really a meeting of the council and the park board. But if we do want to change a location, we have to do that. Council has to vote on that before the meeting. We can't. I don't have the authority to change it on my own. So if you want me to look into alternative locations, I will do that. Otherwise, we will try to make this room as suitable as possible.
Well, I'm of two minds here. One of which is based on very large attendance before.
Right.
I'd be concerned about a large turnout, but I don't know that we're going to get nearly that amount of turnout
Because we
for
cut the soccer out.
this discussion, because what brought everybody in, that part's been resolved. We're going to talk about alternatives. I think there'll be a lot of interest in it. I think we'll have a reasonably full house, but I don't get the sense of a lot of people planning to come down here. I mean, it may be something that we have to keep an eye on. I'm certainly open to having it elsewhere, but if we don't have to, it's probably less confusing for folks if we just have it here. So, council's pleasure.
I kind of agree with John.
I think
It's
we're
a
fine.
crapshoot.
I think we're fine.
Yeah, we don't know.
And because it'll be September, if interest peaks and it looks like we're going to have a large attendance, we will have another council meeting between now and then.
What would be
So-
our alternatives? Would it, the senior center is under construction?
Previously, we had looked at Shepherd of the Lakes, where the packing party is. We had looked at Walled Lake Central, and we had looked at the Commerce Township meeting room, which is quite a bit larger than ours. The church was the closest, and that's the one I think we were going to go with if we were able to change it. But those were some of the options we looked at. The Richardson Center, I think, is still under construction at the moment. I'm not sure that would be a great place, but we have options if we need them.
I think
Church
we're gonna
might
be
be
okay
preferred.
with the building here. It's my one.
Keep the,
I think everybody got a
crowds
chance to
calm.
say what they wanted to say. And obviously, the people that were for it weren't very many, but they won't be here. So,
Okay, so let's
Whatever.
plan to have it here. If we get reason to decide that was a bad decision, we can always revisit it.
Okay.
is the church a type of thing that they would have to change something there, or?
No, it's a
open
big
and it's
multi-purpose
available.
room, and they have chairs. We would go in early
Set
and
up
arrange
tables.
it, but they were
Yeah.
very easy to work with.
So basically, if it turned out, we found out shortly before that, we could still utilize.
Yeah, as long as they weren't booked with something else.
Yeah,
and
that's
if
what
they
I
were,
meant,
we'd
you know, I
just
didn't
go to
know
the
if it was
next one.
choir
Yeah.
practice or, you know.
We just have to check with them.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, council. Brings us to item Q, set topics for the August 23rd work session. I should preface any discussion by saying August 23rd, I will be in the state of Wyoming.
I'll make a motion to cancel that.
You're welcome
since
to
you
meet
won't
without
be
me,
here.
but
Yeah.
I hear a motion
Yeah,
from Stack and a
it's all right.
second from Duff to cancel the August 23rd work session. Any further, and we don't have any pressing items that we would need to do. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Pending business, none tonight. Update from the chief.
Take a walk.
New batteries, huh?
Yeah, we got new batteries, so I think we're good to go. I really don't have much. Obviously, it's been a busy month. It was a short vacation, but it was a well-needed vacation. I don't know, Mr. Byrd, did you give them a copy of the recent encounter with the officers' email?
I did not provide a copy of
Okay.
that, no.
I got a really nice two-page letter from a young lady who stopped by our officers after a night out. She was, I'll just say she was speeding, but she goes on. It's a really nice tribute to the professionalism of not only, well, actually, there are two newest hires, Officer Beaudry as well as Officer Persine. So as a 20-something who is going to college for criminal justice, she felt it necessary to be very vocal about the way she was treated, firm but fair, and I would like to share that letter. I'll get you guys a copy. I'll email it to you. It's a very nice letter. Other than that, with the police reports that I've given you, as you can see, our activity continues to go up. It's unfortunate, but that's a sign of the times, and but we are getting even more and more busy out here. And other than that, it's just been a fun summer, and unfortunately, it's coming to a close faster than we care. So.
No.
Yes.
Nobody heard of the
Unfortunately.
Motion to deny.
Granted, I like that. One of the things is obviously with our patrols on the water coming to an end here next month, there's some electrical issues I would like to address before we winterize it. I will have something for you on the next agenda. I believe we budgeted $2,000 for some work to be on done on that, and it should come in well under that. That boat is now 17 years old, and it's still in very good shape. However, I think at the 20-year mark, we're going to have to start thinking about replacement. So, plant that seed, but for now, I think to redo some of our wiring and maybe get some additional better lighting on that, it will buy us a few more years. So, other than that, it's been fun. So,
Chief, nobody heard the house fire down on?
no, we did have a house fire on Brisbane. A young couple they moved in 10 months ago, I believe, something along that line, 7 months ago. I was there for most of the day with them. They got taken care of. As far as I hear, it is an electrical fire that started in the rear of like a hobby shop in the rear of the garage. The house is pretty much totaled. It was the shell remaining, but they're going to rebuild and they'll be back. But nobody was hurt. They did lose a pet, a beloved kitty that didn't make it out, but 2 dogs and their parakeets or parrots, I believe. What are the birds? 2 birds and 2 rats. 2 of the 4 rats got out. So, yeah. So, but they're super people. I've actually spoke to her before about different items, but it was nice to see the community come together and help them out. So, but nobody was hurt. And I think that's it.
Chief, back to the boat.
Yes.
The motor itself?
No, the motor is actually really well. We purchased that a couple of years ago through Evinrude again, but the motor previous had been on that boat for 10 years. The engine is good. It's the electrical, the lighting systems, the fuse box. We have a fuse block for all our emergency equipment. And our little strobe light on our motorcycle stand is getting a little bit, it was used when we bought it 17 years ago, that light. So it might be, used up as times. So, but yeah, there's some other little things that we need to address. But overall, it's been a super boat, and we just need to address the electrical issues.
All right. Thank you. Update from the treasurer.
Inexplicably, Oakland County increased our upload and download internet speeds, which kicked in unbeknownst to us, well, sort of. We had a little bit of notice, but on Monday, more than double. And I can let Ken take it from there. We don't see much difference in the day-to-day output, but Ken has a surprise for you.
Yeah, so once we test this, it proved out okay. We're actually going to switch to high def. So we'll make sure that for the next meeting, you wear something really nice.
Oh, okay.
There's less testing to do, but.
Makeup.
I'm not sure about that.
I don't look like that.
All right, anything else?
No, sir.
Thank you. Update from the administrator.
There's been a lot of interest in the village-wide garage sale, and it starts tomorrow. It runs Thursday through Saturday, 9 to 6. The map was published today that highlights all the properties that are participating. We have 56 properties doing garage sales over the next 3 days, which we think is a record for the event. It's a good number. The map is on our website. It's on our Facebook page. We posted it on nextdoor.com. And there are hard copies that'll be available tomorrow if anybody wants to stop by before they head out for the weekend. So please participate in that. A lot of interest. And I just want to follow up on what Mr. Powell and others have said about DPW this morning. They never really know what they're going to get into day after day, and today it was to make the parking lot safe. And they did a great job. So Andy, Doug, Todd, and our seasonal employee Hunter really appreciate the work they did on very short notice today to make the lot usable tonight. And I just want to remind council that the resolution for CW3 is here. If you could sign that before you leave, that would be great. And that's all I have.
Question about GFL.
GFL, we are 2 weeks in, and there have been a couple little hiccups, but for the most part, the number of misses and complaints pretty much matched what we had from the previous hauler that we'd had for several years.
Right.
And so we're confident that once they get the routes down a little bit more, that it's actually going to be an improved service.
Is the yard waste going in the regular trucks, or is it supposed to be separate?
I think it's supposed to be separate.
That's what I thought it was.
Yeah, yeah. But Mr. Stack
First
point.
week they cheated, yeah, in Brushwood.
Did
I
they?
heard, yeah.
Okay. We'll talk to them
And
about
also
that.
Simple Green, is that still in effect? Okay.
Yeah, simple recycling?
Yeah.
Right,
They're
yeah,
recycling.
they must have missed the court.
And Mr. Stack pointed out to me that the first week they were picking up both sides of the street at once, which I think we had some, I wasn't here, but I think we had discussion about that previously. That's their preferred method. And so unless we have a collective issue with that, that's what they would like to do. We haven't had any complaints yet of them being parked in the middle of the road or being
And they've had
unsafe.
3 people on a truck too, so that made a big
Wow.
difference, because our concern was people going across the street
Right.
and popping out from behind a truck in the past.
Probably flight on the street.
But all things considered, it's going pretty well. The greatest thing is that the route supervisor from Republic was hired by GFL, so he knows the village very, very well. And I think that's minimized some of the disruption. So we encourage people, GFL has a customer service line, but honestly, if you're missed, trash, yard waste, recycle, call us and we can get a hold of the proper people pretty quickly. Usually they can come out within 24 hours unless there's some extenuating circumstance.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Council comments, we'll start down here.
Well, I'm just reflecting back upon what we're about to sign. I was wondering if somebody at the administrative level would want to reach out to Mr. Lamb and get some idea of what time what date, whatever he might be planning to come in. So at least the council's aware of that. I'm not saying we invite him. I guess I'm just asking if it would make sense, and I'll let the administration decide about that. Other than that, a good meeting. Appreciate it.
Pedro.
No comment. Everything was fine.
Sikowitz.
No comment.
Zach.
All right. First off, thank you to our officers, Dennis and AJ and the chief. They came to my house last Friday. I had a little incident with some bee stings and went down. And the first responders were great. The Commerce Township was very good. Our officers did a good job. And I just want to thank them. The Taste of the Lakes, the administrator has tickets here at the village. I also have tickets. That's coming up in September. And then we are going to plan on and I have to talk to you, Nathan, tomorrow about this, monarch butterfly habitat will be next Friday, and we're going to do it at the Vita Trail at 6 p.m., 6 to 8. So that'll be the day with it. We'll give them the habitat, the egg or caterpillar, and the milkweed. So I will have a flyer to you probably tomorrow on that. It's short notice, but Terry could get out of town real quick and decided to let's move it to Friday.
Okay.
So that'll be coming out fairly soon. And then we'll be planting the garden later in the year once they're a little more ready for that at Amenia. And that is it. Thank you.
No comment. What? You know, before this meeting, we were having a little discussion down here in regards to the Penny Lake and we Wolverine Lakers. At least what we can do is at least stay below our 25-mile-an-hour posted speed limits. Make sure that we're stopping at our stop signs to give respect to our village and to our officers. And it also might deter some people. I have a lot of people that follow my truck very closely because I do go below 25 miles an hour. There's a lot of pressure to speed up. We don't have to. This isn't a thoroughfare. It's our neighborhood. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
And for me, a couple things. I especially wanted to thank our officers who were cited earlier at the beginning of our meeting for their contributions to the village. I was really struck when I was reading through the two commendation letters by the memory of the discussions we had. Now it's 10 years ago, around what we could do for our police department. Could we keep a local police department? How could we keep it? And I was struck that in both of those instances, that was, I think, a really good example of where having local patrol in the neighborhood responding very quickly made a significant difference in the outcome. Having somebody there very quickly in the home break-in is key to securing that and preventing future home break-ins, and having Officer Sutsko there with the right drugs and the right training at the exact right time saved a life. Both very very commendable actions, and I was just struck by both of them being officers who've come into the village since those times 10 years ago, really making a difference. So I was grateful for that. With regard to Penny Lake traffic, I look forward to mentioning that, but I do want to mention at one point the chief said he was the one holding the bag for the federal changes. It's the council. We voted to make those changes. We voted to comply with the law. So that it's on us. So and we're going to continue to comply with the law. But I'm hoping we can find good solutions down there that are going to be good for everybody. And I just wanted to mention to everybody, yes, I am in denial that summer may end, but I haven't gone with a Hawaiian shirt yet this summer, and I thought it was a good opportunity tonight to do so. A Hawaiian shirt at a council meeting, anyways. So maybe back to the coat and tie next month, but it was fun tonight. And with that, I would motion Nedro, second Sinkwitz.
Brian, you jumped in
further discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We are adjourned.